Well, then, another loss, and we are now 16th in the table. That in itself shows you just how bad we have been in the Premier League this season. We might be in a Europa League final, but our Premier League form, the results in the Premier League, have been far from good enough. West Ham, certainly, the way it seemed in the beginning of the game, they were in 17th. They're now above us in the table. They were a team that was worse than us this season until this moment. And the team that Amarim went with was a good team. It was a team that is capable, or should have been capable, of getting a result today, even if it was a draw. Most of the time, you can say the Premier League games are irrelevant. There's nothing to play for other than trying to finish as high as you can. But that should not be the mentality. I said before the game that I want us to have winning momentum, a bit of a positive energy going into the final. Now we have a loss. Our next game is against Chelsea, and they have more to play for in the league than we do. They're obviously chasing Champions League football. We have the opportunity to get that via a win of the Europa League. But in that game, you're probably going to see more changes made by Amarim. You're going to have more academy players playing because today he went a bit stronger with the expectation of having a good result in the end. But instead, we lost, and we basically had an injury as well to Lenny Yoro, who potentially looks like he's going to miss the final and ultimately the rest of the season. He did not look too great when he was sitting on the ground waiting for the physio. And as he left the pitch, some of the players tried to console him because he did look dejected. He did look like, you know what, this injury is going to keep me out of the final. And that is something I didn't want. It's fine to lose the game, but at least lose it in a manner of trying to win it. We did create chances. Both West Ham goals were mistakes of our own accord, and you can blame it to a lack of physicality. You can blame it to low energy after we put so much into the semi-finals against Athletic Bilbao. But there were players who started the game, the likes of Mount, Mainu, you know, Ahmad, who also now is returning from his injury, played at least, I think it was 88 minutes, so that is a positive. You had the likes of Harry Amos coming into the team. So there were players who had good energy to start the game well, to put us in a position to go and win it. Yoro, in my opinion, one of the players I did not want to play in this game. I did rest him in my preview. The same goes for Bruno. But Amarim didn't have that mindset. Cheeto didn't even get a look in to come on from the bench today. And Hoyland, again, I got more frustrated with him in the game than actually hoping to him see a goal come along, an assist or something. I mean, he makes runs in behind, holds the ball up, but then he fails to lay it off to one of his teammates, or he loses the ball while trying to hold it up. And when it comes to being in the box, when we have the opportunity to put it into the box from crossing areas, Wayland for some reason just finds himself on the edge of the D, or he's hiding behind the defender, or he's not making a run that he should be making. He's so poor. And I know he's young, I know he should be developing, but at this stage in your development, you should at least be used to the physicality of the Premier League. You should at least have a much better touch. You should at least be able to know where your teammates are and where they want the ball. But he seems like he's confusing his teammates more than anything else. I was, of course, impressed with Ahmad's performance. I didn't expect him to do that much in the game, considering he has one eye on the final. But again, the team that started was capable of going to win. And now we potentially, if we lose to Chelsea, which is obviously probably might be a given if Amorim decides to play more youngsters and Chelsea just goes at us because they have more to play for in the Premier League, we ourselves could have another loss and most likely end the season in 17th in the Premier League. One place above the relegation zone. Who would have thought that at the beginning of the season when we had Ten Hag? Ten Hag getting sacked seems so long ago right now. And Amorim had the time throughout the season to at least steady the ship. But it seems like He basically went for the jugular and said, you know what? We are going to try and do everything now. And if it means losing in the league, if it means having bad results, not to say bad performances, because today we did create opportunities. We just lack that clinical edge. It's that final decision making, that always seems to bother us in these types of games, especially against teams that sit back and defend, like a West Ham. It was difficult for us, but we didn't give up in the game. The goals they scored did put us in a position of it's going to be more tough now to try and get a draw or a win at that point. But you could see that Amorim was struggling to try and balance between resting players but also still putting out a team that can go and win the game. But we lost, and we have to just forget about the game. There is obviously bigger fish to fry, as I said, with the Europa League final coming up. Against Chelsea, you're going to be seeing a lot of youngsters playing. Amas will probably start again. Maybe Chido gets a start in this game. You'll probably see Fredrickson back in the team as well. Maybe Sekou Kone gets an opportunity in midfield. So there are options for Amorim to make the changes to freshen up the team ahead of that final, because he should not be playing any of the players that he thinks is going to start the Europa League final. Don't even put him in the squad. Just completely throw the game, because that's kind of what happened against West Ham. You could see certain players didn't want to give their all because of a fear of getting an injury, or a fear of being in a position where they might not be able to be part of the squad for the final, let alone play in it. So it's difficult, but we know our focus is on the Europa League, and that is what we have to just focus on. It's not good to lose in the Premier League as much as we did, but next season has to be much, much better compared to what this season has been. It needs to be a complete opposite in the positive direction, higher up the table. But yeah, let me know in the comment section what you guys thought about the game, and of course, how you think Amorim could have gone differently about the game in terms of resting players and also still trying to be competitive. I'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching. If you want more content on Manchester United, like, share and subscribe.